This is the music theory part of lesson 4. So what did we learn in lesson 3? We listened to a song called Alice in Wonderland, and I introduced you to the melody of part of the song, and we heard the harmonic accompaniment to that song. And one of the main events in that lesson was to introduce you to those 3 magic numbers, 2, 5, 1. And remember, we talked about tension and release being very much part of writing songs, so that there is a movement, a forward movement of the song. I said that in this lesson that I would introduce you a little bit more to the inside of that harmony. What we had basically in lesson 3 was we saw melody and we saw bass line, the lower notes accompanying the melody, producing a harmonic framework. We're going to take another look at those other notes that are used below the melody to provide a harmonic accompaniment. And we must remember we're talking about singing, so those notes are identified with people, with people's voices. The bass, the tenor, the alto voice, the lower female voice, and then the soprano voice. In this lesson we're going to work on another song that you may know. Did you recognize that? Autumn Leaves by Johnny Mercer. One can find it in various keys, but using various sets of notes. But again, I want us to work in using our set of 8 notes, C major. This may not be the ideal set of notes for singing it for your particular voice. It will depend on the voice. But because this is music theory, let's use that set of notes. Let's use our numbers. Let's see the way the song flows. You'll meet our 2, 5, 1 magic set of numbers. And this will enable you, once you really understand this system, to just change the set of notes. Relatively, you just shift it up or shift it down on the piano, and then you can find the notes for your particular voice or your duet if you're singing with somebody else. We'll come back to that. So, let's take another look at the chords that can be built on our reference scale, the major scale. Okay, and we're using C major, remember, just the white notes. That's the lower octave. This is the bass octave. And then the higher octave. So I'm going to use this tenor octave here to demonstrate the chords that can be built. So the chord that's built on the 1 is what's called a major 7th chord. Why is it called a major 7th chord? The interval between the 1 and the 3 is a major 3rd. It's 2 tones, a major 3rd. And the 7 is a major 7 because it's a semitone away from the 8. Okay? Now we're going to move up to the chord built on the 2nd note of the major scale. Now let's consider here that we've moved into a new set of notes. This is why we get a change in colour. So our new set of notes is this. Okay? And we're building, using the 1, 3, 5 and 7 again, we're building a chord, and this chord is a minor chord. And it's minor, why? Because the interval between the 1 and the 3 is minor. It's 1.5 tones. We have a perfect 5th in there, and then we have what's called a minor 7. Why is it a minor 7? Because it's a tone away from the 8. The major 7 is a semitone away from the 8. Okay, so we're kind of in a new scale there. Only the white notes again, but with a different colour. Now we're going to move up again to the 3. We're going to build using the 1, 3, 5, 7 system again. Let's have a look at the intervals. The interval between the 1 and the 3 is minor, 1.5 tones. Then we have a perfect 5th again, and then we have a 7. The 7 is a minor 7 because it's a tone away from the 8. This gives us a minor 7th chord again. 1, 3, 5, 7. Now we're going to go up to the 4. Same system. We're now in a new set of 8 notes. Right? This is a major 7th chord because the interval between the 1 and the 3 is a major 3rd, 2 tones. Then we have a perfect 5th again. And then we have a major 7. Why is it a major 7? Because it's a semitone away from the 8. Okay, and let's remember, let me remind you, the 8 notes we have now, that's the new scale of 8 notes, just using the white notes. So we change colour again. And we're going up to the 5th. Same system, using 1, 3, 5, 7 to get the chord. And we're in a new scale. And that is our 7th chord. It's a major chord because there is a major 3rd between the 1 and the 3. Then we have a perfect 5th, and then we have, this time, the 7 is a minor 7 because it's a tone below the 8 in that series of notes. This is a very special chord. It's called the dominant chord. Why is it called the dominant? Well, remembering our 2-5-1 magic series of numbers, the 5-1, the 5 is the dominant, it dominates the 1. and we have a cadence of 4 down to the 1. Remember? So this chord is the dominant chord. It's the one that takes us. It's the chord that takes us back home. Five going down to the 1. Okay, a very special chord, and a very special characteristic of that chord is this interval. This interval, which in olden times was called the diabolicus in musica, the devil in the music. This interval supposedly inspired the baser instincts in the human being. It was an interval that was forbidden in church music. But in jazz, this interval is vital. This takes us back. This interval is a very unstable interval. It's kind of puts our teeth on edge, our nerves on edge. And then when we go back home to the home base, there we go back to a nice relaxed situation. So this chord, the dominant 7th chord, is very important. It's on the 5th, it's called the 5/7 chord. Now let's go up to the 6th. Same system, 1 3 5 7. We're in a new scale. And 1 3 5 7, 1 and 3, the interval is a 1.5 tones, a minor 3rd. It's a minor chord. We have a perfect 5th. Then we have a minor 7th. Why is it a minor 7th? Because it's a tone below the 8. And then we come up now to the 7th. This is another very special chord. Let's take a look at it. Between there we have a new scale again. And that's the chord 1 3 5 7 again. And the first interval is a minor 3rd, 1.5 tones. The second interval is a minor 3rd again. So we have 2 minor intervals. And then we have a minor 7th. Why is it minor again? Because it's a tone below the 8. It's not a semitone, it's a tone. And these first two intervals give us the diabolicus in musica again. We've come to a very special chord, and this is called a semi-diminished chord. We'll come back to those terms, semi-diminished, but it's a minor within a minor. So there's a minor interval, another minor interval, and then another minor interval. And this is the 7 minor, and instead of a perfect 5th this time, we have what we call a flat 5th. And this chord is just dying to go back to home base.